Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. We are live, folks. Good afternoon. John Duffin here, Duffin Media, Duffin Coaching. Welcome back to another episode of Optimizing Your Communications, JD's KILLA Conversations. I know you realize what a street person I happen to be. But what are we doing? Well, first off, if you're joining me on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube Live, I am grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you. And if you got something to chime in or add, please do. At least on two of those platforms, I get to see your comments. I can't tell you which ones because I don't know. But when I see them, I promise you I'll be acknowledging you. And whether it's a question, a comment, feedback, an example, bring it. Now, the whole point of today, one more time, we get to drop off 3 top tips to help you optimize your communications by leveraging your voice. That's what we get to do. That's what I'm so grateful to get to do. So wherever you happen to be, anywhere in the Philadelphia region, in the States, around the world, welcome, 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 and thank you. So what is the whole point for me today? And this is going to occur a lot this week. It's the emotion of big conversations. All right. So one of the things I think about, this is the time of year. Now, look, you might say based on circumstances or wherever you happen to shake out in regards to economics or politics, and we're not covering any of this today, by the way, just know that. But what I was going to say is wherever you happen to be on the decision-making spectrum, you might think, every day is an emotional day. But let me tell you, this time of year, I believe, at least for me, you're carrying a lot of emotions in play. You might be bringing some personal emotions in regards to we're getting closer to the next set of holiday seasons, which all happen to be emotional for good or bad reasons. You may be encountering emotions because it's a big time of year in regards to business. Big decisions, year-end things. People are still making personnel decisions at this time of the year, whether it happens to be for the good or the bad. There's a ton of emotion involved. So the whole point of today and the next few days is how do you keep your emotions in check, but still get to share those emotions as well? So to me, I'm calling all of this, don't curb your enthusiasm. Oh, and by the way, what I probably should do is this. Leave that up for a moment. Don't curb your enthusiasm, but make certain that you're able to have your emotions work for you naturally and on point. It's really the whole deal with this. I am going to give you a little bit of background here in regards to why this matters to me so much. And then the idea, 3 situations, 3 personal experiences, 3 tips, 3 solutions. We tie them all together to make this easy and navigable, okay? So for me, I've been told, for anyone who knows me, that I have a fair amount of enthusiasm. I had somebody very recently call me a hype person, which I love, by the way. It absolutely made my day and made me feel great. So there's a lot of that I get to carry around that makes me feel really good. But I'm going to share with you, sometimes you have to keep those emotions in check. Now, I don't even like using words like in check. Let me start with a situation and I'll tell you how to resolve it. I'll give you an example of how not to resolve it and how to resolve it, okay? So, situation number 1, tip number 1. Here's what I remember. I lost out on a promotion at my background, broadcast advertising sales, digital sales and management for about 25 plus years. And I lost out on a promotion that actually I thought I was going to get. Okay. So I felt like it was a tough race, but I felt like, and the candidates were all awesome, by the way, but I felt like I was getting it. I felt like it was mine. And so the decision comes, and it was a Monday morning, and I get called into the office, by the person who was actually making the decision to let me know it won't be me. And I could feel my stomach start to sink, by the way, sorry. This is about 9 a.m. on a Monday morning, right? So I'm walking in and I wasn't expecting this conversation. Steven Heiser, baby. Welcome to the show. Me, enthusiasm. So I'm told. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate the kind words. And so they tell me the news. And then I'm like, well, why? Why would you have made that decision? Right? Here was the answer. The answer was, well, you can be too emotional. So here's what I did. What do you mean too emotional? And how did I demonstrate why they were so wrong? Pitched a hissy fit for the remainder of the day, storming out of the office and coming back in a bad mood. So probably wasn't the best tactic to take. Yes, I was caught off guard. So here's the number one tip. It's an easy one, but you don't do it a lot. And the number one thing, how do you keep yourself a little bit more balanced? Any situation you're walking into. So say, for example, you're walking into your office. Now, that was a surprise conversation, but say you're walking into your office. Here's the easiest way. I just put up a social post today. You're going to breathe. We've talked about this before. I've talked about Navy SEALs breathing techniques. I put up a post today talking about someone who I love. His name is Dan Harris. And if you're familiar with Dan Harris, he has created this platform called 10% Happier. Please check him out. Meditation, breathing, mindset. He's a genius. And if you want to Google something fun, Google Panic Attack TV. Guess who comes up? Dan Harris. He suggests that. I'm not throwing him under a bus. So the fact of the matter is, Dan Harris was, until recently, a reporter for Good Morning America. So major national news platform on a daily basis. He had a panic attack, froze on TV. He remained on air after that situation for years. So he got past it, but created this platform called 10% Happier. An app, a website, program, systems, a book. I wildly suggest you check it out. Now, how does that matter? We all have literally a couple of minutes to focus on breathing. You're hearing that all the time, and you're probably like, oh my God, I showed up here today, have somebody tell me how to breathe. Yeah. So it's amazing that you keep hearing it because it's so damn important. So if you got 30 seconds, if you've got a minute, before you walk into your office, for instance, driving into your parking lot and you're in the car, right? And it's about ready to walk in and you're going to face whatever commotion is going on for the day, whether you're a leader and you're leading teams and or if someone is leading you. Don't get out of the car until you've got your mindset right. Take literally a minute and breathe. Well, yeah, I'm running late, but I'm running late to a meeting, so I can't. Don't. Give yourself the gift of time, a minute or two, and breathe. Naturally breathe. Get your head right. What does that do? Obviously, a myriad of things for your body. But you know what it does for your voice? It's unbelievable how much better you sound. And this is not a matter of who sounds good or bad. It's true and right for the situation at hand. So now, if I had walked into the office, not flying into the office like I often did, right, to whatever's going to happen to hit me that day, I would have been in a much better position to answer that. Now, the words, the content are critical. If you're saying things like, I hate you, or that was a terrible decision, or you're stupid, hard to make those words sound good. So don't. But you're expressing that concern or surprise. Give yourself the gift of time, minute or two, into any situation. Breathe before you walk in. You can't believe, like, I'll ask a question. When you hear someone sounding naturally enthusiastic, does it sound good or bad to you? Well, to me, it's good. If you have somebody screaming their head off, does that sound naturally good or bad in terms of business? Big decisions. Sounds so out of place that in turn you wind up thinking less of the person, which is the last thing you want in important business conversation. You want them wanting more of you, not less of you. So what can you do? Breathe into a situation. If you know you're walking into a big meeting, honest to God, give yourself 30, 60 seconds. That's all. If you got more time, take it. But the fact of the matter is, oh my God, Sandra Lee, yay! Sandra Lee is a rock star speaker, published author who was just happened to be in Philadelphia. She's creating this tour where she'll be speaking across the country. But Sandra showed up for a conference in Philadelphia, and I got to spend time with her, and I loved it. Thank you for showing up for me. So here's the deal. Number one, give yourself the gift of time. 30, 60 seconds, 2 minutes. If you're driving somewhere to an appointment, promise me, give yourself a minute or two to breathe before you get out of the car. You're walking into a meeting. You're 2 o'clock, say this afternoon. At 1:58, do not go flying and charging in with a big pile of papers and your computer. Give yourself a minute to get it together, okay? Restudying your pivot tables one more time is only going to make it tense and weird, right? Know your stuff, be prepared, but that minute or two before, that's for you to get your mind, your body right, all right? So that is number one. Number two, watch negating your feelings, right? So I'm a big believer in you're allowed to speak your mind, right? You're allowed to speak your mind. You're allowed in conversations, you're allowed to have input, right? Sometimes what can happen is the conversation is not going in a direction that you want. So one of these things that I think about is this. Hey, by the way, Chad Naxon, oh my God, my number one client. God love you, Chad. My number one, first client to believe in me. And I'm going to use Chad as an example momentarily. But I want to, in terms of tip number two, acknowledge Chad, who's a complete rock star. And I guarantee you, when I reference Chad in the next tip number three, that it's going to be in a good way. Promise. But here's the deal, right? So that you've got these scenarios where big decisions are taking place right now. You might be up for a promotion, like I was talking about with me. You might be up. Look, I worked in digital broadcast television and executive management for, as I said, 25 years, a little more than 25 years. And so you were making big decisions. And here's another example. Decisions were being made for you. We had a lot of layers in the corporations that I happen to be in. So you were not in this singularly autonomous situation. Somebody would make a decision for you. Like, if anyone can relate, this is business plan time. What are you doing for 2024? Anyone have that? Anyone work in a corporation? Anyone, even in an entrepreneurial level, where someone is giving you the decision as it regards to whether it is including you in their campaign, whether it is the decision as to what you're going to be responsible for, whatever that happens to be, these big decisions. I talk about expressing and watching, negating your feelings. I gave you the example a moment ago as to what not to do in terms of I didn't get the promotion, so I'm screaming like a 2-year-old because they said I was too emotional. Guess I confirmed their opinion. Now, you may get something handed to you, a decision, a personnel move. Hey, we had to let go a couple of people. That sounds so random, but I'm telling you, this time of year, this happens. Headcount, budgets. You may get a budget that you disagree with. You may lose a personnel. So I don't know if that's related, but I'm telling you, you may not get the funding. You may not get the loan. You may not get the opportunity to move. So, expressing disagreement. Tip number two. I'm calling it watch the upspeak. Okay? What's upspeak? You don't know? Well, it's hard for me to give an example because I don't really know how to say it. Okay, by the way, that's upspeak. Everything is a question, even when it's not. I'm not sure why I came to that decision. I felt like I was doing a good job. I believe we're going to hit this number. Watch that. People do it all the time. All the time, right? Have you heard it? Anybody? Anyone? I thought I was doing okay. Didn't you think I was okay? I thought it was good. Did you think? Have you heard it? So I get the gift and the privilege of doing a lot of voiceover work, right? And major shout out if Corey Disson is anywhere near this live stream today. I'm going to give him a major shout out for reminding me of the fact that he and I were one of the first business conversations that we had me set up beautifully in regards to getting ready to launch the voiceover career. And so, Corey, if you're listening, and I'm acknowledging you in a great way. So I bring this up because when you're speaking, you want to be able to you can sound concerned. You can ask a question. You don't want to sound like you're in doubt. I thought it was good. And you might think it's the words, but I'll shift them just to give you an example of how to alleviate that. Okay. Well, I thought I was doing a good job. If you could give me an example, I would be glad to share back an example. Take the question out of it. Stop asking so many questions. And again, ask a million. I'm sorry, let me say that better. Ask a million questions. Just don't sound like you're doubting or unsure. Because that's what upspeak sounds like. You're unsure. You're looking to seek approval or clarification or someone to step in and help. I thought it was good. Didn't you think it was good? I really thought it was good. Oh, no. It was good. You're looking for someone else to take control, to take charge. And what I'm suggesting is that's a big mistake, right? This is an easy fix, by the way. And what's the fix? Don't do it. If you catch yourself doing it, easy, stop. How do you do it? Watch just that. When you want to sound like you're in command, you don't have to sound stern, but you can just sound less questioning. And questioning, I mean in regards to doubts. Okay? So that sense of, I thought it was good. Let me give you another example, right? So the fact of the matter is, and when you speak in that way, when you're sharing an example, when you're expressing concern, do it in a way that's positive. And I don't mean Pollyanna positive. I mean not doubtful. Okay, so watch your upspeak. Number 2, right? Here's number 3. Remember, I brought up Chad Naxon. Here's my favorite example. And by the way, Chad, I'm with you. Ums drive me wild as well too. I don't know why you feel that way, because what I was thinking was it's awful. Simple fix. Here's your bonus tip. Somebody's doing, if it's you that's delivering a lot of ums and ahs, it's a focus situation. Focus on something. Focus on your next point. Focus on a person. Bring yourself into focus. It's really hard to and if you are right here. When you're somewhere else or you're a lot of somewhere else's, it's really easy to get into that. But that's your bonus tip. I'm going to come back to that another time. But here's the example. Chad Naxon, and I said, was my number 1. The very first time I delivered a live training to launch my coaching, which was done, this is like 2 years ago, right? So it was the first time. I do a live session on social media, kind of like this, right? And at the end, my big ta-da is I'm launching a course. It was a group training session. It was wonderful. I'm telling you, here's the number one part. Chad was the first person to sign up, and I'll never forget that. Individual, group, Chad has worked with me. I will never, ever forget how much that means to me. I love Chad Naxon for that and for a lot of other reasons, but that was one. Here's the situation, and here's how this was the takeaway. I remember the first person registers for the course, and I'm aware because an email is coming to me saying, blah, 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 just register for the course, right? If Lisa Leonard, voiceover pro, love her to death, is anywhere within earshot, this is for you. I remember, here's the opposite of negative enthusiasm. Let's go back to the overhyped hype guy. The email comes in, blah, 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 just register for the course. Here's what I do. This is great. Unbelievable. This is so cool. Thank you so much. I am so grateful. I was very happy. Really happy. So damn happy that I sound like I was going to jump right through the computer screen. Here was the slight problem with all of that. I meant it. I thought it was great. Hey, we're up and running and everything is cool. The problem was this, and this is where I'm going to name check Lisa Leonard, who's just awesome. She's like, I love what you did with the training and blah, 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 blah. But you might want to sound a little less enthusiastic. Apparently, I went back and watched the video. Apparently, I was sounding as if I just was selected to be on The Price is Right. Wow. Yeah. When you're negotiating for something and you get a concession, say you express your need for a raise, a promotion, having a client work with you, and they agree, and you react, this is so great. What do you think that does to your negotiating ability? Yeah. Hey, you know what else? People also feel as if, oh my God, I probably shouldn't have moved so quickly. I wonder if I'm their first client. Well, in that case, they were. But your business people don't need to know that. So I'm not a believer in when somebody says, like that first example, you're too emotional. I'm going to use a second example, same topic, as to how you can come in differently, right? So my former boss, my colleague, I loved her to death, God rest her soul, Karen Graham, was also a manager at that same television company. And when I finally, after all my hissy fits of not getting the promotion, went to Karen Graham, she said to me literally, and I tell her, finally, she wants to know what's wrong. I'm stomping around acting like a 2-year-old. And so, because I'm going to disagree that I'm not too emotional. She said, oh my God, that's all they had? She was with the same company and she was trying to, talk me off the ledge. And she's like, that's the worst that's the best they could do. She said, John, that's your best part. It just shows you have a pulse. Folks, this is what I'm saying to you. I want you to be enthusiastic. I want you to express your natural authenticity. Everything about what I get to do ties directly into being your best, most true, authentic self. And if you are one of those people, and I'm grateful I know a lot of them, that has a natural sense of enthusiasm, keep it. Please keep it. Keep it. Keep it. To me, it's one of the most endearing things when somebody shares their enthusiasm with me. Right? I'm going to name check another person today. Chad Levine. God love you, Chad Levine. He's one of my all-time favorite people. Chad Levine, by the way, I consider one of the very first people when I got my real estate license and I was doing a lot of social media videos. Chad Levine literally spoke to me on one really lonely open house that I was covering. Have a bad weather day and I'm there all by myself and I'm going to cover the open house and I've got balloons or whatever and I'm just not feeling it. I'm there and I'm like, okay, nobody's coming. And I'm just going to stand here like the Maytag repair person. And if you're old enough to know that reference, well, then double mutual respect for you. But I just remember I wasn't, and I'm getting ready to open the door. And I'm just going to walk in and it'll just be me and I'll turn on the lights and whatever. But he called me and we're talking and literally said to me, I love what you're doing on social media. I love your energy. I love your enthusiasm. So I got to tell you, everything that I've gotten to do since that point, I got to think of Chad Levine and that phone call, because it would have been so easy for me to phone it home, dial it in that afternoon, just stand there like you've gone to a lot of open houses if you have in your life in terms of real estate, and the realtors just staring at their phone and staring out the window. Would have been so easy. But what it did, it propelled me to get the encouragement to keep rolling. So here's my bonus tip to you, courtesy of Chad Levine. Bonus tip, right? It is when someone shares feedback about you, including when it's good, believe them. Don't dismiss it. Oh, yeah, but I didn't really want to. And believe them. Believe them. My ability to be able to communicate at that specific open house. I had all kinds of enthusiasm. I'm putting up inflatable balloons, and one of them is like blowing into my face, and everything worked great. And I got great feedback from them. Thank you, brother. That it was, so believe them. And more importantly, and this is from me to you, take action on it. Move. Do something. It's great to feel good. It really is. Keep that enthusiasm going. Hey, all of those words, this is the solution to natural enthusiasm. It's a little bit of focus, okay? Remember, most unbridled enthusiasm is typically singular. I'm excited, unless you're at Citizens Bank Park, and if you're a Philadelphia person, you know that reference, or Lincoln Financial Field for the Philadelphia Eagles, and you're with a group of 70,000 people or whatever, and we're all cheering together. Most of the time, that same rule applies. You're trying to match the energy of the other person. Somebody gives you a gift in business, a sale, a referral, a client, a promotion, an acknowledgement even. Match their enthusiasm. If they're the type that are a little bit more stoic, you jumping up and down, like I said, like it's let's make a deal. Don't. But you can be engaged. You're allowed to be engaged. Allow your body to just, that's the tip. Keep in mind who's there and stay with them, right? You can jump a little bit further. Be you, always. Be true, be you. But do not change the energy of the room. And you'll be like, well, what if it needs it? It does, but you want to include the other people. So the positive emotion, one of the easiest ways to do this is just watch the other person. If they're the stoic type that just sit and smile, maybe not jump up and down on their desk. If they're the type that feel really good with you, go with it. Go with it. Allow your natural energy to challenge, or God almighty, allow your natural energy to stay with that person. Again, you're allowed to take the lead. Just don't overwhelm somebody, right? So to me, these are the 3 tips that I wanted to give to you today in regards to making sure that you know emotion is a part of our every moment, every day, and our every business situation. I want to address that in 1 minute, Stephen. I like it. And I want to address that comment in a second. But this is where it's like good emotion, bad emotion, surprise emotion. Those were the 3 things I wanted to cover today. So to wrap up the 3 tips, number 1, as I said, you don't want surprises, but you should be preparing for them. So that number 1 tip, whether it's walking into a sales call, whether it's walking into your job, whether it is realizing that every business day, there's probably going to be surprise. And who says it can't be the first thing that comes across your desk or your field of vision, right? So number 1, knowing that there's probably going to be a surprise, and it may not be the surprise that you're looking for. It may not be your birthday, right? Give yourself the gift of time. 30 seconds, a minute, a couple minutes, breathe it in. Remember my guy, Dan Harris, who makes you 10% happier. Google Panic Attack TV. You'll find Dan, and then go to his website, 10% Happier. Incredible apps and breathing techniques, and he's fun. He makes it fun, and that makes it fun for me. Number 2, disagreement. You're allowed to disagree. You're absolutely allowed, but you don't want to do it in a way that makes you sound like a petulant kid. So the answer is 2 things. Number 1, control your body a little bit. Allow your body to, like I said, expand. Don't tighten up. Don't constrict your voice. It sounds tense and weird. But really, 2, watch the upspeak, because I don't know if that's going to help me. Because when I speak in that fashion, I start pay attention to people when they start to do that. You're going to hear it all the time, and you'll be like, "Oh, thanks, John." What I don't want is it happening all the time for you, right? Ask all the questions you want. The more, the better. Give all the examples. The more, the better. However, you don't want to sound like you don't know the answers or be doubtful or unsure. You're the one taking the lead. And I'm back to my hype guide. Do not curb your enthusiasm. I want you to bring that true, natural you. Honest to God, it is so damn important. Do you be like you? Absolutely. Just mirror the situation, right? Like I was giving that example of acting like, I can't believe somebody just is going to work with me. Well, they probably couldn't believe it either afterwards. But the truth of the matter is, it all worked out. And thank God for good people like Chad Naxon, my number 1, and Chad Levine, who remembered. And that was the bonus. Somebody gives you a compliment, believe it. And then the real deal, take action on it. Now, let me just broach this as well. My buddy Stephen Heiser, get ready to launch a podcast. So be on the lookout, right? Stephen Heiser, his wife, Ali Connor, are going to be launching a podcast really soon. There's going to be 2, 1 solo, 1 collective married couple. They will be a blast, but I'll just read it, right? Learning to take and receive feedback, good or bad, is one of the first keys to increasing your emotional intelligence. Oh my God. So true. So true. And by the way, in my history of being look, I've told you my professional history, but the personal, being this consummate people pleaser and afraid that something was going to fall or break, or that was a tough way to live, because you couldn't stand in like an adult. An adult simply means being able to speak responsibly. It doesn't mean shutting yourself down and going all monotone or all simply business. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means being able to give and receive feedback. Big deal. And again, you can disagree, but you disagree in a way that continues the conversation, not shut it down. You know, very few times, unless you're a Chuck E. Cheese, does the petulant kid get their way and get the extra pizza. Unless, I have no idea why I came up with that reference. But the fact of the matter is, right, you want the conversation to continue. You don't want to break it off. So you're using your enthusiasm in a way that allows you to keep moving. Hey, folks, they are my 3 tips for the day. Here, I'm going to throw an offer on the table for you as well, too, since you were nice enough to hang out with me today. So right off the bat, you need me for anything. I just popped my email address, jd@duffinmedia.com. Why does it matter? Well, it matters because I think I'd love for you to reach out for me. But here's specifically what I'm going to have you do. Here's the offer, by the way. And the value of this offer is $500. Here's what I'm willing to do. One person, this is going to go till Friday. One person is going to win the following. They're going to win me literally helping you get rolling in regards to either a live stream, a social media, or a podcast. Stephen Heiser, who happens to be watching right now and has contributed so well, was actually the architect of this idea. So I've come to learn that people helped me get my own podcasts and live streams. I told you about Chad Levine, Jason T. Herbert, who has helped produce a lot of the live streams that I have participated in, have helped me. So what does that do for you? What it does for you is one person will get my time. It'll take us about a half hour, maybe a hair longer. Here's what you get. And by the way, when you email me, here's all you have to do, which is type in the email, jd@duffinmedia.com. Type the word podcast in the subject matter, and I'll know what you mean. Type the word podcast. One lucky winner, it will be announced Friday, will get the following. I will literally jump on screen with you. It won't be live. It doesn't have to be, but I'll get you set up completely. I use a platform called StreamYard. I like it because it's easy. I've had people help me. Jason T. Herbert happens to be one of them. Chad Levine happens to be another one of them. And I'm not the expert, but I'm way better than I used to be. And I can help get you set up. People talk to me constantly about wanting to set up better social media, better live streams. I'm going to launch a podcast. I'm going to do this. A lot of I'm gonna. Here's what you get. In that time, again, it'll take us about a half hour, maybe a little bit longer. You're going to go from I'm going to you do. And that's the key, right? The biggest thing that people have helped me do is actually do. So you've heard the cliche, done is better than perfect. I will literally go on with you. Hit the buttons. I'll hit the controls with you so that you can launch your first live stream and or podcast. And then you're off to the races. Easier than you think. The bonus of that, why it's worth $500 after you record the podcast. I will give you additional feedback, 3 suggestions or whatever. Only constructive criticism because they'll all be great. So I actually went a little bit long today, but I wanted to put that offer on the table because as people have helped me, the best thing I can do is give back. So again, you want my help? You want to get rolling? You got a million ideas? Who doesn't, right? You want to be able to communicate them properly? Who doesn't? Here's where you can help yourself. Email me, jd@duffinmedia.com. In the subject header, type the word podcast. That's it. Anything else you want to say it. But the fact of the matter is, when you do, one lucky winner will get my time, and I will literally walk you through StreamYard. You will create your own StreamYard account. It does not include a membership, but you'll create your own StreamYard account. And the fact of the matter is, after that, then we will be able to get you up and running so that you're using it and that you're able to move. So again, here's your last thing. Email me, jd@duffinmedia.com. Subject, podcast. I'll know where you are. This is live or on the replay. We're going to get this out on Friday, so we'll have a little bit of fun. Folks, I really respect, appreciate, and acknowledge all of you for showing up for me today. This was kind of fun for me, and I hope it was fun for you. I'm grateful and over the moon. So I'm going to check out, let you enjoy the rest of your day. Practice these today. None of them are hard. You have not lost your day. If you're having a bad day, you haven't lost it. Plenty of time left in today. Enjoy it. Let me know how these tips go, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.